Hi, welcome to my channel. This channel is about astronomy, physics, astrophysics. So against the black holes, dark energies and things like this. And I didn't want to make these videos like physics, explaining physics in large extents. But to not, if you are against the current view of the astronomy, like everybody says, that you soon to not sound crazy, you must explain why. Okay, so now I use the opportunity to cut some parts from videos from internet, so I cut and inserted into my videos, so from different physics guys that say, maybe you know them, maybe you do not know them, maybe they were well known sometimes and now they are not known very much, but this is from Krauss. He has a YouTube channel, so I cut from his video. That's how I'm telling you that black holes do not exist. Okay, so now he is explaining black holes physics that he learned in high school and he remembers, and he put some equation and he tells you what's the velocity speed of escaping a planet or a body, a mass body. Okay.
Hi, welcome back to 5-Minute Physics. Today I want to show you how to understand an amazing fact that I first learned from the astrophysicist Tommy Gold when I was in high school, and it stayed with me ever since. I hope you find it equally fascinating. It has to do with black holes. First, just recall some stuff we've already done. If you're trying to leave the Earth or another object and you want to calculate the escape velocity, remember that we looked at the total energy, which was 1/2 mv squared minus gmm over r, and we said that if that is greater than or equal to 0, then you'll escape. If the positive piece, due to the energy of motion, was bigger than the negative potential energy, you'd escape. So all you have to do is keep pumping up the velocity until this term is bigger than that term. And when it's exactly equal to 0, that gives you the escape velocity. Any velocity bigger than that will escape. So equating this term to this term, I just get that the escape velocity from any object is 2 gm over r. That you already know, I hope, from past 5-minute physics.
So after you watch, maybe you heard what he is saying. I want to tell you that he is making some few mistakes. You will see in my second part that I've cut from his video. This is the mistake that they are doing. Not only him, but he's explaining about the English dude that lived after Newton. So this is the mistake. The A times equals C times B equals C. Let's say this simple equation. You equate this. You put equal sign this equation. Okay. A times B equals C. But now C increases in two cases. You see, I wrote this if you read. Increases if you increase the A, you maintain the B constant. But the same increases if you increase the B and you maintain the A constant. So you increase one of the part, but they took the wrong part to increase. They increased the mass. So now in the force equal times acceleration, you have a relation like this in kinetic energy, 1.5 mass time velocity. You have a relation like this. But now they choose the wrong part to increase. They all increasing the mass. But what you have to increase is the force or the kinetic energy. So now listen the second part that I've cut from his video, Krauss. I don't have anything against them, okay? I'm not filming myself like this. I'm not staying like this for now. Maybe someday, okay? But you see half of my head, you see? And I'm saying like a tea science, coffee science. I always have something here to drink. This is a soluble coffee. So now you will listen what I've explained to you, how when an English guy did not know. You know the mathematics, but if you do not have a control of your mind, you can make these mistakes like this. So now he says that some original, not Stephen Hawking, another English dude, increases the mass. He thought that you increase the mass, but you are not allowed to increase the mass. The force. So listen what he is saying.
Now, this fact was used 100 years after Newton by this guy named John Michell, who was a British scientist who actually was a very good scientist, but he could never get a job at Cambridge. He was educated at Cambridge, and so he had to take a consolation position as a clergyman. But nevertheless, he did very good work. And he realized, well, look, if this is the case, and I keep pumping up the mass, eventually the escape velocity will be bigger than light. And he said maybe there's objects where the escape velocity is bigger than light and not even light can escape. Early version of a black hole, what we now call a black hole. Now this is a classical Newtonian calculation and it has to be modified a little bit in general relativity, but the idea that there could be black holes of approximately this mass went back to him in 1784. In fact, what he showed is if you had an object whose mass was 500 times the mass of the sun contained in a radius equal to the mass of the sun, the escape velocity would be bigger than light.
Okay, now if you listen the English dude how increase the mass violating this principle of mathematics, okay, of logic of mathematics, like a philosophical principle of mathematics, you must understand that like with a rocket engine, you'll be stupid to increase the mass of the rocket, you increase the force of the motors. So watch this rocket, Elon Musk Falcon 9 rocket, launch in space. So now if you are saying that you increase the mass, you see there is a distinction between energy and force. And you are being stupid to increase the mass of the spacecraft in the flight. You do not increase the mass, you increase the force. So the rocket engines do not produce a mass, a force. You do not need mass, you need a force to escape. So it is not a mass of escape, it is a force of escape. So you do not read masses. But this was already told by Galileo Galilei. He observed this weird fact that this small rock will fall with the same acceleration with this. So there is a force or a kinetic energy. So now the second mistake that he's made, I don't have anything against these guys, okay? But to believe me, to not seems to you that I am crazy, okay? The black holes do not exist. You cannot see the universe. Or inside a spherical galaxy, and the galaxies are stars put in clouds, small stars. Okay, so but I'm telling you in many ways how they are making wrong, how they understand wrong this. The fourth mistake that they do, not knowing but the equation are two and made by two different guys. Even Lawrence Krauss says in this video, classical mechanics made by Newton, but the kinetic energy was made by Leibniz. So to prove to you this, look at this, okay? In the same periods they were fighting. The Germans with the English, but the Germans did not have a big empire, the English did, so the English won. So you understand the force, but the kinetic energy is force. Force is kinetic energy, but now you are not allowed to put mass times acceleration equal 1.5 mass time velocity. Because one was made by Newton and one by Leibniz. Leibniz made the kinetic energy. So now you see that Lawrence Krauss says that classical mechanics made by Newton, but you have to say who works with kinetic energy. In the same way, you are believing that Albert Einstein worked with Leibniz was proposing the time relativity, so he took on kinetic energy. You can watch his equation. He has kinetic energy in them, okay? So this is another mistake that he does, okay?
Now, this fact was used 100 years after Newton by this guy named John Michell, who was a British scientist who actually was a very good scientist, but he could never get a job at Cambridge. He was educated at Cambridge, and so he had to take a consolation position as a clergyman. But nevertheless, he did very good work. And he realized, well, look, if this is the case, and I keep pumping up the mass, eventually the escape velocity will be bigger than light. And he said maybe there's objects where the escape velocity is bigger than light and not even light can escape. Early version of a black hole, what we now call a black hole. Now this is a classical Newtonian calculation and it has to be modified a little bit in general relativity, but the idea that there could be black holes of approximately this mass went back to him in 1784. In fact, what he showed is if you had an object whose mass was 500 times the mass of the sun contained in a radius equal to the mass of the sun, the escape velocity would be bigger than light.
So now he does another mistakes in another video by believing. He says in this if you hear carefully, that is a kinetic energy of movement. He says, but in another video, by taking the equation of Einstein, and I wanted to find out what's the energy or per volume of a galactic or in a galactic space. He believes that this is a Benjamin kinetic electricity, but kinetic energy is a kinetic energy of impact. So you do not have an electric field or per volume, a kinetic energy.
The energy of the universe, and particularly the energy density of matter in the universe. Each of these galaxies weighs a certain amount, say a mass m. And the total energy in any given region is mc squared, the mass energy of each galaxy, times the number of galaxies in the region. Okay? So that's the total mass energy in any given region.
You do not understand that kinetic energy is very, very complex. If you treat these two bodies like this was what Leibniz made, you see, you do not believe that there is another reality of kinetic energy. But kinetic energy looks like this. So you see in the explosion there is a quantity of kinetic energy per volume, but again you do not care about the mass. So it is not a relation between mass. You disregard the mass. You are interested only of kinetic energy. And now the multiple mistakes that they are making. You see that the blast is not produced by the mass. In the same way, all the kinetic energies are produced by some external factor you do not know how. You define the reality that you are seeing with these conceptual things, kinetic energy, mass and velocity. But you see, I have this hand, has a mass, and it produces many forces. Look, I lift this with a force or a kinetic energy, it's the same thing. Or I lift this with the same force, my force. It's like some ladies, like with high heels, to be proud, they step hard on the ground. But they have the same mass, okay? But they can walk like cats. So you are interested about reality of the force because these proud ladies have the same mass. Their mass. And they step in a different manner. So now he says that by energy per volume, okay? He says about an energy per volume. You must understand this guy. So this guy has a whip, okay? So the whip has forces, many forces. What is the force per volume? It depends how it will hit in the air with this wave, okay? So what is the force? This is why Einstein used all the possibility curve geometries to identify a point from a point to a point. What's the distance? They did not bend the space. So now the energy per volume, it is not electric energy per volume. You saw that explosion, that is a kinetic energy per volume. So let me calm down myself a little bit.
The energy of the universe, and particularly the energy density of matter in the universe. Each of these galaxies weighs a certain amount, say a mass m. And the total energy in any given region is mc squared, the mass energy of each galaxy, times the number of galaxies in the region. Okay? So that's the total mass energy in any given region.
So now he makes a relation between density, kinetic energy, and things like this. So now you understand that it is wrong. It is wrong to take the kinetic energy has multiple aspects. It is an impact like this. It has a kinetic energy in that guy with per volume, okay? But the equation is simple. But you have geometrical cases, many geometrical cases, okay? So this is the mistakes that they are doing. So you cannot superimpose the Newton with Leibniz. Maybe they did this, but unknowing, okay? You see, it is not a relation of masses, a relation of forces. I am always telling you like this, okay? So what remains to be said? The guys, if you watch what I read from the internet, Wikipedia internet. So for this section, I'm filming the section of Wikipedia about kinetic energy. Kinetic energy is like force made in the same time by Leibniz. Look, he says this from Greek, means motion, kinesis, motion. So it is an energy of motion, not electricity, and it is this. And he says is made by Leibniz and John Bernoulli. And this is the equation. It is simple. Kinetic energy, like from this work, Einstein made the kinetic energy, not electricity, 1.5 mass time velocity. So now is an impulse of movement, and now you are intersecting with this force equal mass times acceleration is Newton formula. But it's the same period. The force is kinetic energy. Force equal kinetic energy. It is the same thing made by two different guys. So we have mechanical work here, force like this, and you have only this derivative function made by them, mathematics, because you have to have this mathematics. And they were arguing because both of them invented this. But you cannot now equate m equals say equal 1.5 mass time velocity because you will do wrong thing. So there are two for the mechanical movement. That's why they are tricking themselves. So now the guys made the same apparatus, mathematical apparatus. They were fighting in the epoch who was making that serpent-like stuff to integrate by spaces the energy of the kinetic. You see that I put for you, and do not be scared, okay, this dynamite in the mountains again. You see, you can say that is a force per volume, a force in a volume, or a kinetic energy per volume. This kinetic energy has a trajectory and a movement, a vectorial movement like this. And this is why they made the mathematics, okay? You compound a vector, some quantity, so there is an energy per volume. There is an energy per volume, but a kinetic energy per volume. Not electric kinetic energy. So now if you understand that each body has an equal opposite force, like Newton, G is a Newton force. So again in the equation, G is force that he puts, G is for Newton force. So if you put kinetic energy, so now you do not believe that with all this equation you can treat orbits. With all three, Einstein, force, kinetic energy, all three, you can treat orbits. Because you understand exactly this kind of things. What is the force per volume? What is the Einstein kinetic energy per volume? Or what is Leibniz energy, kinetic energy per volume? And one was equating with c squared, the speed of light, and the other one did not this, because did I know the speed of light, okay? So Einstein now says that all are kinetic forces correlated with light, so it is a light field. So now again about escaping velocities.
Hi, welcome back to 5-Minute Physics. Today I want to show you how to understand an amazing fact that I first learned from the astrophysicist Tommy Gold when I was in high school, and it stayed with me ever since. I hope you find it equally fascinating. It has to do with black holes. First, just recall some stuff we've already done. If you're trying to leave the Earth or another object and you want to calculate the escape velocity, remember that we looked at the total energy, which was 1/2 mv squared minus gmm over r, and we said that if that is greater than or equal to 0, then you'll escape. If the positive piece, due to the energy of motion, was bigger than the negative potential energy, you'd escape. So all you have to do is keep pumping up the velocity until this term is bigger than that term. And when it's exactly equal to 0, that gives you the escape velocity. Any velocity bigger than that will escape. So equating this term to this term, I just get that the escape velocity from any object is 2gm over r. That you already know, I hope, from past 5-minute physics.
So you see that I'm not looking straight, okay? Maybe it's strange about escaping velocities. You see, this equation are very simple. Let's say that you have a swirl, water swirl like this.
But upon opening the spillways, an interesting and powerful whirlpool vortex immediately took shape, and it threatened the safety of those boating on the lake. Exclusive footage taken in June of that year shows the full size of the whirlpool, estimated to be approximately 8 feet in diameter, with enough power to suck down a full-sized boat with ease.
So if you have this water swirl like this, there is exactly this forces, kinetic energy or mass is Einstein per volume so it is the same. If you want to have a speed, let's say a boat, and it is in a, you understand this, all this equation applies in this case. So you have this swirl and you have near the swirl a boat. Now you have an energy per volume, yes. You have a field, yes. The water is the field. What is the energy per volume? The energy is a kinetic energy. But who produces? The waters, if you let it like in a steady lake, does not produce a swirl per se. So now they are believing that the mass produces the movement. If you saw the rocket of the Elon Musk Falcon 9 rocket, the mass of the rocket does not produce the movement, so the g-force or the kinetic energy of the, or rather Einstein kinetic energy, is not produced by pure mass. It is produced It is produced by an engine, by something, by that guy with his hand. He gives with a whip, okay? The hammer does not produce force, it's some object. So the hammer has 1 kilogram. And now they took up upside down everything. They are not interested in the forces by the mass of the hammer. They are not interested in the forces manifested in the lake, but the mass of the water. So they took upside down this everything, you see. So, but now if you understand the escape, and I explained to you the escape velocity, and they don't want to, and they do not have to know this, okay? You have some engine and you beat the 9.10 meter per second. You do not care about this equation. And when you go to the moon, you intersect the moon with the trajectory vectors, trajectory. Von Braun said that you can go optically. I will put you some video that invented the rocket. What he says that you can look through the window and go with the aircraft. If you have engines, that you have some coordinate how to move the engines. So the intersection of the moon, it is not made knowing the physics. You intersect with vectorial trajectories, like only space-time intersection. So now you want to escape with the boat from the middle of that swirl. You understand that the swirl is not produced by water, nor by mass. There is a relation between the forces and masses inside that phenomenon. The phenomenon is a full phenomenon with a boat near this swirl. Let's say there is a boat with this water that has a force in it, or a kinetic energy of movement, has masses, okay, like this.
Thankfully, officials released a statement warning boaters of the danger and urging them to stay away. Buoys and caution signs were also placed nearby.
But now if you have a steady swirl, it is a steady kinetic energy in it. So now you must understand that if you know this power of the swirl, the boat can produce some anti-movement to the movement of the swirl, because the swirl converges in the middle. So it brings you in the middle. So you want to escape. You do not care about your mass of the boat, but you make an anti-force to the force of that will take you to the middle. So but now there is a relation, because if the swirl is the same swirl, it is not accelerated or decelerated. With BCC with the same mass, I can make this slower and faster. So there is different forces per mass, okay? So now if you suppose that this is the same speed, if you suppose that it's a quantity of kinetic energy or movement inside that water swirl, and it does not vary. And now if you have a larger boat, you see there is some difficulties, because this swirl cannot aggregate a larger mass to pull it towards it. So there's some problems. But if you have the different boats, like approximately the same mass, now the energy of the movement being the same, you will hit the boats with another force. So now you understand that to oppose this, you have a bigger force, because now you must move a bigger mass away from the swirl. So it is weird. And it is a relation between masses and energy, but so you do not have you do not have a combination now. You do not allow to combine G force like this. G force, you see, G force is F force, Newton force, and you combine equating the Leibniz equation, Newton equation. You must show me how you made this from only one equation, Einstein equations or this. This is a way how physics is wrong. And now you understand like this. You see I have matches here, and each one has a mass like this. He says that you add the energy per volume, galaxies. So the adding of mass, it is temporal function of temporal function. What I'm telling you, you see, I put in this container one at a time, this 1 and 2. What does this? Increases the mass of the container, and it is a function of time. Let's say I put this 1 per second, right? 1 second, another one, 1 second is a function of time, and you increase the mass like this. So now you can have two different increases of function of times, because now you increase the mass, and in another part you increase the kinetic energy. So there is a function of time of increase of kinetic energy, of increase of mass. Let's say, but somehow you put mass in the rocket. So you are mean, and you to Elon Musk rocket to not succeed, you have some like alien powerful like flying saucer, and you cloak yourself, you go to the rocket, and you put masses in it. In each 10 meters the rocket flies in air, you put a rock, you see, you increase the mass, but the engines has the same force. So in this way, there is a function of the idea of mass, but not through the rocket itself does not add mass. Does not add mass. You add mass. But you can treat this equation by adding mass in a function of time and adding the force. You can vary the force of the engines again. You see, you do not need a big force, only to escape 9.8 meters per second. And you can make this even like unknowing the mass, you obtain 11 meters per second. There is a vector like this, 10 meters per second, you have 11 meters per second, you escape, because you have a bigger velocity. But you do not care what is your mass, what is your force, what you have. So let's say that you are imbecile, you have this like in sci-fi movies, like Klingonians were very stupid but have big spaceships, and you have the spaceship but you are very stupid. You do not care, like you do not care when you have a car what is the internal processes or how the motor is functioning. You put the acceleration, accelerate the craft, and you go from there for 11 meters per second. You can have some clocks that show to you that you have 11 meters per second. But you are very stupid. You do not care about what is the mass, what is the kinetic energy, nothing. So now NASA guys, if it sends on the moon, you believe that they know this in deep manner. You see that this, I respect him, okay? But he must understand you can trick yourself in very easy way. So these NASA guys that Von Braun made the rockets, you believe that they are smart? They pull some forces and they pull a rocket in space. They could be stupid. Because even the Von Braun made a rocket, and he says that you can. So you see what is to induce yourself in error, like that English guy, but increasing mass. So now you cannot increase the mass of the aircraft. You cannot increase the mass of the whip of that guy. You cannot increase the mass per volume of the swirling water. You increase even the energy, kinetic energy of the forces. But this is with the consumption of material. So that's another thing. Okay, so this is everything I wanted to tell you. And I'm telling you, I didn't want to make these videos, big videos explaining to you physics. But to understand that I'm not crazy. Like if I've told you, you do not believe me. We cannot see the universe. We can see only a sphere that is surrounded by clouds and what they call galaxies, that they are believing they are gravitational systems, and they are like this. This is like a non-round like this. This is a round like like the sun. And the stars do not have to be identical or a sun, so they are small and cold. But if I told you this, you are believing that I'm crazy. These galaxies are like this. and there is a membrane made from electricity energy, light electricity, magnetic energy with electron radiation, microwave radiation. But this electricity is in a cloud, like you have a thunder cloud, like you have thunder, like you have lightning. There is inside in a mass indeed, and the mass is hydrogen oxygen mass, and surrounds a galaxy, around galaxy, our galaxy, and that galaxies, they said this. That's why the Bible does not say the universe, says the sky and the earth, and there is a plural in Hebrew, like, because we cannot see the universe. And what they are saying, galaxies are cumulus put in that clouds, cumulus of objects, you see that round, not gravitational systems, and explain to you how you have a temporal problem, 100,000 light years to have a function of time. My previous video, if you watch, okay? So I don't have anything against this guy, but maybe he will come across my video and will understand that I'm not crazy. I explain to you physics. So if you were wrong, but the light diminishes with distance. Our galaxy is a sphere and we cannot see the universe. So everything that you are saying, universe, Big Bang, prove that you are fast to take one from another and to lie this planet. And I'm telling you, the planets are in our grasp. We can reach the planets. We can reach even the stars. We can make a space station like this nice space station of the stars. Because they are close in one day with the speed of light. There are millions of stars smaller than the moon. And they do not have gravity because a mass does not produce gravity. Explained to you in this video. You must have a field like a water field and a swirling factor, a moving factor, like a tissue, like something sticks to your hand due to acceleration, like this. I accelerate and it sticks to my hand. I have the phone, I will drop it, but you can do this. You accelerate, and if you have a scale, you can scale this on your hand with your acceleration. But it is the force what matters, not the mass, okay? So I've told you, I didn't want to make this, but they are wrong, and I explained to you that they are wrong. So the galaxies, these pictures, are stars like you imagine clouds with pieces in it. Our galaxy is a sphere and we cannot say what they are saying, see what they are saying like universe. So when this you see like the galaxy are put like this, and in the middle is the solar system. Believe you or not, it is the truth, okay? And all the lights converges inside, and the stars are cold, not like our sun. They do not produce thermal energy, and they could be planets there that. But like not like our solar system. And you will go to the border of our galaxy, there's one day with the speed of light. I found this, but in another ways, and then begins what you call the universe. So we can see only our galaxy. And let's go to the planet. Let's do these things, okay? How the president say, not because they are hard, okay? But so you understand that I know physics, and the black holes, you cannot obtain a black hole, and it is not an increase of mass. You do not increase the mass, and it has not a dependency of per volume mass, but a force per volume. Goodbye, God bless. This is everything I wanted to tell you in this video. Maybe I'll make another one. I will watch it to see what it was unclear. Goodbye, God bless. A big video, but you see, you must understand. So that's why you are tricked. Explosion, 13 billion years, background radiation was the energy per volume, so you do not understand. And black holes, seems to you that time travel, bending of lights, and all these things against I am against them. Okay. Goodbye. God bless. Like, share, and subscribe. Help me to everybody must find this, because you see, it is shocking for the entire planet. Our galaxy has only one day with the speed of light. Goodbye.